Jai Saparika Shri Guru Gaur Chandraju Ki Jai. Jai Shri Giriyaj Govardhanju Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajakaacharya Astatar Sata Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajakaacharya Astatar Sata Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sri Dadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Welcome to Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission Morning Class. Dandavat. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jata Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitangstam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidangscha Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Svapadantikam. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrta Ki Jai. Jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Ki Jai. We are on text number 54 of the first chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrta. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Text 54. Rite ritanya pratiyetana pratiyeta chatmani tadvidyanatmano mayang yata baso yata tamaha. What appears to be truth without me is certainly my illusory energy, for nothing can exist without me. This is the second verse of the Chhatu-shloki of Bhagavatam. It is like a reflection of a real light in the shadows. For in the light, there are neither shadows nor reflections. What appears to be truth without me is certainly my illusory energy, for nothing can exist without me. So if we see anything and we think it has nothing to do with Krishna, that's called Maya. It is like a reflection of real light in the shadows. For in the light there are neither shadows nor reflections. We are in text 54, and it's the second of the Chhatu-shloki of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The real spiritual world is brightly illuminated, but the material world is wrapped in darkness. In the material world, sunshine, moonshine, and different kinds of artificial light are required to dispel darkness, especially at night, for by nature the material world is dark. Therefore, the Supreme Lord has arranged for sunshine and moonshine, and in some planets, there aren't even that. Below us, below this earth existence, there's a place where everything is illuminated by the jewels on the heads of snakes. Therefore, the Supreme Lord has arranged for sunshine and moonshine, but in His abode, as described in Bhagavad Gita, there is no necessity for lightning, for lighting by sunshine, moonshine, or electricity, because everything is self-effulgent. And that's also in Brahma Samhita. That which is relative, temporary, and far away from the absolute truth is called Maya or ignorance. This illusion is exhibited in two ways, as explained in Bhagavad Gita. The inferior illusion is inert matter, and the superior illusion is the living entity. The living entities are called illusory in this context only because they are implicated in the illusory structures and activities of the material world. Actually, the living entities are not illusory, for they are parts of the superior energy of the Supreme Lord and do not have to be covered by Maya if they do not want to be so. The actions of the living entities in the spiritual kingdom are illusory. The actions of the living entities in the spiritual kingdom are not illusory. They are actual eternal activities of liberated souls. So when we see something phenomenal, the modern usage of that word, phenomenal, wow, this is an amazing thing, or something extraordinary, and we think it has nothing to do with Krishna, this is illusion. And that means we are not seeing it really. We're seeing like a reflection. There's not really... What we see is misperception, because we want to see that something is existing outside of the Lord due to our own bad motives. We want to be the enjoyer, the singular enjoyer, the direct enjoyer. And therefore, when we see something, we're seeing it as wondrous, but what we're seeing is not really wondrous. The divine vision, seeing Krishna everywhere, that is really wonderful. That is really amazing, full of consciousness. Yata mahanti bhutani bhutesu chavache svanu pravistanya pravistani tatateshu nateshvaham. As the material elements enter the bodies of all living beings and yet remain outside of them all, so I exist within all material creations and yet I am not within them. So as the material elements enter the bodies of all living beings and yet remain outside of them all, so I exist within all material creations and yet I am not within them. So we are sort of entrapped in material elements, you can say, or in the material conception of life. But the Lord is not. He's not entrapped like we are. He's within everything. But nothing is catching him. He's within everything. And yet he is fully independent. This is a very important conception. He is Swarat. He has full independence. There's nothing, he's in and out and not in at the same time. Because of his development in transcendental attachment for the Supreme Lord, a surrendered soul feels the presence of his beloved everywhere, and all of his senses are engaged in the loving service of the Lord. His eyes are engaged in seeing the beautiful couple, Sri, Radha, and Krishna, sitting on a decorated throne beneath a desire tree in the transcendental land of Vrindavan. Pop quiz. Which prayer is describing this? We've been hearing these three prayers of the three deities of Vrindavan. One is Madan Mohan, the next is Govindaji, and the next is Gopinath. But one of them is describing the Lord in this way. Do you remember? So, Divya Vrindaranya Kalpa Drumadha Srimad. So now you know. Srimad Ratna. Ratna means jewel. Ratnagara Singhasana, jeweled throne. So here it is. They're engaged in seeing the beautiful couple of Sri Radha and Krishna sitting on a decorated throne beneath a desire tree in the transcendental land of Vrindavan. That's the second verse. His nose is engaged in smelling the spiritual aroma of the lotus feet of the Lord. Similarly, his ears are engaged in hearing the messages from Vaikuntha, and his hands embrace the lotus feet of the Lord and his associates. Thus the Lord is manifested to a pure devotee from within and without. This is one of the mysteries of devotional relationship, in which a devotee and the Lord are bound by a tie of spontaneous love. To achieve this love should be the goal of life for every living being. This really is mysterious. As we can hear these things and we are wanting to fully embrace these divine conception. But a pure devotee, he's seeing all these things constantly. He's tied, he's absolutely bound to the Lord with affection. Etavareva jigyasam tatva jigyasunatmana anvaya vyati rekabhyam yat sarvatra sarvada. A person interested in transcendental knowledge must therefore always directly and indirectly inquire about it to know the all-pervading truth. A person interested in transcendental knowledge must therefore always directly and indirectly inquire about it to know the all-pervading truth. In the third paragraph, I think, one should try to purchase a ticket to go back home, back to Godhead. The price of such a ticket is one's intense desire for it, lolyam, which is not easily awakened. Even if one continuously performs pious activities for thousands of lives, pious activities will not cause that, lolyam. But as we were discussing in Gita, the tendency for pious activities may bring one into the plane of agyata sukriti, because he has the tendency to do something for others. He may act unknowingly, do something for a Vaishnava. All mundane relationships are sure to be broken in the course of time. But once one establishes a relationship with the personality of Godhead in a particular rasa, it is never to be broken, even after the annihilation of the material world. Okay, any question?
Are we text 56, right?
Yeah, in the middle of the purport. I just skipped. I'm just skipping through the purports a little bit. So at the bottom of page 68, or the bottom, from this and the preceding three verses of the Chaitanya Charitamrta, which have been selected from the Srimad Bhagavatam, the missionary activities of Lord Chaitanya can be understood. Srimad Bhagavatam has 18,000 verses, which are summarized in the 4 verses beginning with aham eva sam eva gre and concluding with yat syat sarvatra sarvada. So these verses in Bhagavatam 53, 54, 55, and 56 are the Chhatu-shloki. In the first of these 3 verses, 53, the transcendental nature of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is explained. Did you find it? It's the bottom paragraph of the okay. And the second verse, 54, explains that the Lord is detached from the workings of material energy, Maya. The living entities, though parts and parcels of Lord Krishna, are prone to be controlled by the external energy. Therefore, although they are spiritual, in the material world they are encased in bodies of material energy. The eternal relationship of the living entities with the Supreme Lord is explained in that verse. The next verse instructs that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by His inconceivable energies, is simultaneously one with and different from the living entities in the material energy. This knowledge is called achintya, Beda Bed Tattva. I love this. The way Srila Guru Maharaj explains the word achintya. I know I said it before, but he's saying that achintya means that division line between one being non-different and different, that dividing line, only the Lord knows where it is. When an individual living entity surrenders to the Supreme Lord Krishna, he can then develop natural transcendental love for Him. This surrendering process should be the primary concern of a living being. In the next verse, it is said that a conditioned soul must ultimately approach a bona fide spiritual master and try to understand perfectly the material and spiritual worlds and his own existential position. Here the words anvaya vyatirekabhyam, directly and indirectly, suggest that one must learn the process of devotional service in its two aspects. One must directly execute the process of devotional service and indirectly avoid the impediments to progress. Isn't that lovely? My gosh, if I had my phone, I'd take a picture of it. But anyway, this is page 69 and verse 56. Chintamani jayati somagiri gurur me siksha gurus cha bhagavan shikiping cha mauli yat parakalpataru pallava shikareshu lila swayamvara rasang labate jayashri. All glories to Chintamani and my initiating spiritual master, Somagiri. All glories to my instructing spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who wears peacock feathers in his crown. Under the shade of his lotus feet, which are like desire trees, Jai Shri Radharani enjoys the transcendental mellow of an eternal concert. So, do you remember the story of Bilvamangala Thakura? And he went to the prostitute, her name was Chintamani. He's actually praising her. All glories to Chintamani. No, this verse is from Bilvamangala Thakura. He's praising Chintamani because through her, his guru came. And so this is a verse from the Krishna-katha, which was written by a great Vaishnava sannyasi named Bilvamangala Thakura, who is known as Lila Shuka. He intensely desired to enter into the eternal pastimes of the Lord, and he lived at Vrindavan for 700 years in the vicinity of Brahmakund, a still existing bathing tank in Vrindavan. The history of Bilvamangala Thakura is given in a book called Sri Vallabha Digvijay. He appeared in the 8th century of the Saka era in the province of Dravida and was the chief disciple of Vishnu Swami. In a list of temples and monasteries kept in Shankaracharya's monastery in Dwarka, Bilvamangala is mentioned. Jai Shri Jai Giri Aju Ki Jai. Bilvamangala is mentioned as the founder of the Dwarkadish temple there. He entrusted the service of his deity to Hari Brahmachari, a disciple of Balabhabhata. Bilvamangala Thakura actually entered into the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna. He has recorded his transcendental experiences and appreciation in the book known as Krishna-katha, which was, pop quiz, what are the two books that Mahaprabhu brought from South India?
He brought Brahma Samhita, Krishna-katha.
Right. And that's written by Bilvamangala Thakura. In the beginning of that book, he has offered his obeisances to his different gurus, and it is noted that he adored them all equally. The first spiritual master mentioned as Chintamani, who was one of his instructing spiritual masters, because she first showed him the spiritual path. Chintamani was a prostitute with whom Bilvamangala was intimate earlier in his life. She gave him the inspiration to begin on the path of devotional service. And because she convinced him to give up material existence, to try for perfection in loving Krishna, he has first offered his respects to her. I met this, I was staying with some friends in the east coast of Canada when I was 18. And they had a mutual friend who came to visit. And I was talking to him. He's an older guy, but I was talking to him about books and what book I could read. Because I'd sort of given up reading books. Because I didn't think I was going to find truth. I couldn't, read all the books in the world. There had to be some other way to find truth. So I was talking to him about that, and he said, "You should just chant Hare Krishna." And I always will feel gratitude for that. And I did start chanting Hare Krishna after that. I don't remember that fellow's name at all. But he did start me to chant. And I did start. He explicitly mentions Bhagavan, who has peacock feathers on his crown, because the Lord of Vrindavan, Krishna the cowherd boy, used to come to Bilvamangala to talk with him and supplying him with milk. In his adoration of Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, he states that Jaya Shri, the goddess of fortune, Srimati Radharani, takes shelter in the shade of his lotus feet to enjoy the transcendental rasa of nuptial love. The complete treatise Krishna-katha is dedicated to the transcendental pastimes of Sri Krishna and Srimati Radharani. It is a book to be read and understood by the most elevated devotees of Sri Krishna. Any questions about any of that?
He lived for 700 years?
Yeah.
What yuga is this?
No, this yuga.
This yuga.
Wait a minute.
And Bilvamangala Thakura lived for 700 years.
The 8th century of the Sakya era. And yeah, he was a disciple of Ballabhabhata. I don't know. Really, I don't know how to... 700 years. Okay, yeah. I don't know how to explain that at all. Anyway, Haribol. Jive shakshat nahi tate guru chaitya rupe. Shiksha guru hai Krishna mahanta swarupe. Since one cannot visually experience the presence of the Supersoul, he appears before us as a liberated devotee. Such a spiritual master is none other than Krishna himself. Isn't that wonderful? So deep. So the Lord is within and the Lord is without. The Lord is within as the Supersoul and without as the
Supreme Personality of God.
as Guru. But you can read this again. Since one cannot visually experience the presence of the Supersoul, because you can't see him, he appears before us as a liberated devotee. Such a spiritual master is none other than Krishna himself. So he appears to us as a liberated devotee. So this is, we are always following the line of Rupanuga Guru Varga. Tata dushangam utsritya satsu sajjena buddhiman santa eva suchindanti manovya sangam uktibi. One should therefore avoid bad company and associate only with devotees. With their realized instruction, such saints can cut the knot connecting one with the activities unfavorable to devotional service. Such saints can cut the knot connecting one with the activities which are unfavorable for devotional service. This verse, which appears in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, was spoken by Lord Krishna to Uddhava in the text known as Uddhava Gita. The discussion relates to the story of Pururava and the heavenly courtesan Urvasi. When Urvasi left Pururava, he was deeply affected by separation and had to learn to overcome his grief. And grief is there's no avoiding grief. Attachment and grief are standing next to each other holding hands. There's no avoiding it. Whatever we're attached to in the mundane plane, in the plane of exploitation, must lead to separation eventually. But if those attachments are progressive in spiritual life, then this is a different matter. This is like missing the devotee. That is something that is not the same quality. It is indicated that to learn the transcendental science, it is imperative that one avoid the company of undesirable persons and always seek the company of saints and sages who are able to impart lessons of transcendental knowledge. So which verse from Upadesamrta? Pop quiz. Which verse from Upadesamrta is describing this? That one should avoid bad association.
Oh, there's two verses that I describe in that.
Yes.
Is the second and third one.
Yeah. Atyahara prayasascha and utsaha nishchayadam. So this is a very important point. And satovite, always following in the footsteps of the previous devotees. The potent words of such realized souls penetrate the heart, thereby eradicating all misgivings accumulated through years of undesirable association. Many years. That's all we've ever had. For a neophyte devotee, there are two kinds of persons whose association is undesirable. One, the gross materialist, who constantly engage in sense gratification. And two, unbelievers who do not serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but serve their senses and their mental whims in terms of their speculative habits. Intelligent persons seeking transcendental realization should be very scrupulously avoid their company. And if guests are coming to the temple, and then they want to go do something with some of the devotees of their own age group, it's not necessarily a good idea. It might be, because if you're giving association and they're going with a group of devotees on some kind of walk or something, well, then that's good. But if they're going to be giving you their association, that's not good at all. You're not doing really them so much favor. Any question about that? So which two kinds of association are to be avoided?
Wasn't
What are the two kinds of bad association that are to be avoided?
So, gross materialists who practice sense gratification.
Yes.
And the other one is those who do not serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah, they don't have any faith.
No faith, yeah.
Very good. Satang prasangam amma virya sangvido pavanti hrit karna rasayana kata tad josanad asva pavarga vartmani shada ratir bhaktir anukramishati. The spiritually powerful message of Godhead can be properly discussed only in a society of devotees, and it is greatly pleasing to hear in that association. If one hears from a devotee, the way of transcendental experience quickly opens. Transcendental experience quickly opens, and gradually one attains firm faith that in due course develops into attraction and devotion. So sadhu sangha.
Taste and full faith is the same?
Well, one is ruchi. So there's those and the different gradations of development of devotional life. Excuse my voice. This is that gradation. So faith is the basis, but full faith means full experience of transcendental life. And taste, ruchi, that is giving that is real entrance. That is a substantial position when one has actual taste. Develops into attraction and devotion. This verse appears in the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Kapila Dev replies to the question of his mother Devahuti about the process of devotional service. As one advances in devotional activities, the process becomes progressively clearer and more encouraging. Unless one gets the spiritual encouragement by following the instructions of the spiritual master, it is not possible to make advancement. So it's not like I've heard this, and if I don't feel something, then I'm going to give it up. As we progress, we will definitely get deeper and deeper experience. But we can't expect that to come to us on a plate just at the very beginning. We have many layers of undesirable things, anartha-nivritti, many things stages to go through in our development. And we should be very enthusiastic for that. But not that because I don't get something, the whole thing on a golden plate from the beginning. This isn't working. This is a childish idea. It's like signing into university and expect to graduate the next day. It's not at all possible. Therefore, one's development of a taste for executing these instructions is the test of one's devotional service. A taste for executing these instructions. Initially, one must develop confidence by hearing the science of devotion from a qualified spiritual master. Then, as he associates with devotees and tries to adopt the means instructed by the spiritual master in his own life, his misgivings and other obstacles are vanquished by his execution of devotional service. Strong attachment for the transcendental service of the Lord develops as he continues listening to the messages of Godhead, and if he steadfastly proceeds in this way, he is certainly elevated to spontaneous love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada is giving assurance. This will come, but many things have to happen. Like Srila Guru Maharaj says, when a girl gets married, she can't expect to have a baby the next day. Many things will develop before a baby is born. So this is like that. But the Prakriti Sahajas, they want to make all kinds of noises, as though like a girl makes many noises if she's delivering a baby, because there's some pain there. But if someone goes into the labor room and just makes a bunch of noise, it doesn't mean that a baby's going to come out. So the Prakriti Sahajas, they always, oh Krishna, and they just imitate all this stuff as if Krishna Prema is suddenly going to manifest in their heart that way. No, many things, there's many stages that are gone through. But all in the mood of surrender, Srila Guru Maharaj said, this is the necessary element. Haribol. So now we can stop here. This was text number 61. Any questions? Haribol. Satovritte. Tat karma pravartanat. One thing after another. To follow the process. Jai. It's like that. When we first come to the temple, the Srila Prabhupada gave us so much encouragement. You just follow these rules and regulations and chant the holy name. Very soon you will develop love of Godhead. But it's not so soon. The honeymoon stage comes to an end, and then the real work begins. All right. Jai. Sri Upadesamrta ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta ki jai. We heard about Bilvamangala Thakura, a verse from Bilvamangala Thakura, and we heard the story of his divine life.
We just read from that purport of Srila Prabhupada, that Srila Bimala, what was the name of these Vaishnavas?
Bilvamangala.
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 Maybe he was part of the past life of Lord Sri Krishna.
Oh, because Krishna came to him personally in Vrindavan.
Wow.
He was giving him milk. And then the boy said, I'll come back later for the pot. Bring him some milk. He was blind. Bilvamangala Thakura. Because when he went to Vrindavan, he suddenly became attracted to one lady and he followed her. And he's Brahmin and came in the house, and the husband said, what do you want? And he said, I want your wife. And in that culture, that nobody will say no to a sadhu who comes to the house. And then he came to his senses again. First the Chintamani and then this. And he said, Mother, give me your hairpins. The long pin that's keeping the hair up. And he put his eyes out. He said, these eyes are not favorable for my devotional practice. Wow. One lady, very beautiful young woman, she wanted to move into Guru Maharaj's temple. But he knew there would be trouble. She was very sincere. He said, first you have to pull your teeth out. And she did. She pulled out her front teeth. She did. So we're not being called upon to do those extreme things, but if we think that we can't do anything extreme, like anything at all, any sacrifice for continuing our devotional life, then what are we doing? Some sacrifice has to be there, and mainly avoiding bad association and avoiding, a bad association can also be online. If there's a wonderful program going on in the temple room, we don't want to be sitting and doing some nonsense thing on our computer. We have to try to keep hearing about things So we have to be very careful what we are associating with online. That's also association. It'll fill us full of all kinds of stupidity.
Did I have a question? It's not related to what we're discussing right now. It has to do with chanting the holy names of the Lord. We know from our gurus that Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has established chanting the holy names of the Lord as the prescribed yagya of this yuga, the prescribed sacrifice for this yuga, to chant the holy names. My question is, what is the difference between sacrifice and austerity? Since one of the offenses of the Dhamma apparats is to consider chanting the holy names as an austerity.
Well, to be like an ordinary austerity. Sacrifice is a little different. I mean, the yogis and different, spiritual practitioners, they would perform many austerities. But this is not to be considered like that. Those things are to develop siddhi, some perfection in the eightfold mystic system, or to develop some kind of punya, some power, strength. But that should not be used in that way. That I'm going to chant this mantra and I'm going to get powerful and I'm going to be able to command the masses and elevate myself over the water or whatever we want to, whatever thought. That's an offense. We're not utilizing the holy name. We are trying to surrender to the holy name. It's not to be thought in that way. But sacrifice in the for the goal of transcendental service, that's a very different thing. Yeah?
Yes, thank you, Didi.
As we were discussing yesterday, Ramachandra killed one low-class man for performing austerities. He's a low-class man, uncontrolled mind, impious person. He will develop some power through that. And that power he will, like Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu did so much austerity. You know what he did? He stood on his tiptoes until ants had eaten his whole body.
Until what?
Ants. His body, when Brahma finally came to find him, who's causing all this disruption in the universe by this type of austerity, it creates some energetic disturbance. So he found him inside of an anthill.
What is an anthill?
You know how ants, they build a little hill, a little tiny hill. Well, this one was as tall as Hiranyakashipu with his arms up, standing on his tiptoes for as many years as it took for ants to fully eat his body. And he was still there inside of his body. He performed that kind of austerity. But what did he do with it? Massacre. So I'm just saying, as an extreme example, austerity and the sacrifice of the chanting of the holy name are that type of austerity. Or you know what I mean? It's not necessarily at all. Our performance of austerity will be in accepting only Mahaprasadam. What has been offered to the Lord, not to eat anything that's not offered to the Lord, to rise early in the morning, to cleanse our mind through hearing, to keep clean physically, those kinds of things, an austerity of the mind and in the positive sense.
So for one side, there's the austerity expecting power back, or some.
Yeah, as Krishna's giving in the Gita, 3 kinds of austerity, 3 kinds of those kinds of things.
And ignorance, passion.
Yeah.
And in the other hand, we're chanting the holy names of the Lord as an offering and seeing it as grace.
It's for Him. Why do I want to become purified of all my anarthas? Of course I want to stop suffering. But that is my lower impetus. That's okay. It was natural. But ultimately, it's for Him that I want to become purified. I want to become yours completely. And anything covering that desire, I want gone. So this is really everything. This is the whole thing. Yep. Okay, maybe we'll read again because it's gotten late again. So Jai, today we heard about Jana Sanghas and Sangha Tyagat. Can you tell us what that is? Jana Sanghas and Sangha Tyagat.
Jana Sanghas is association with non-devotees. And Sangha Tyagat is embracing rejection to non-devotees.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we don't want that association. But we're going out and meeting many people. But we are giving the association of our guru to them. So that is really very different. And that it has a completely different result also for us.
I actually want to ask you that question. What is the difference between Jana Sanghas and Sangha Tyaga?
Tyaga means to reject or to renounce. So Sangha means Sangha, association. Sangha means association. So Bhakti Sangha, or devotee association is very good. But Jana Sangha, Jana means the ordinary people. So Jana Sangha means to associate with them, and Sangha Tyagat means Tyagi. Tyaga means to give it up, renounce that. It's my very small amount of Sanskrit that I know. Hare Krishna. Jai. Now coming to verse 10 again. Jai Srila Rupa Goswami ki Jai. Jai. Did I? Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrta ki Jai. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj ki Jai. Srila Om Vishnupada A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Now page 280 in the book, down to around the bottom. So then Narada Muni has come to the Yadavas, to the Yadus, and they have said, no. We see Krishna sometimes, but we all have our families, and Uddhava has full absorption in Krishna. He's always with Krishna. Actually, Uddhava looked like Krishna. When Uddhava was coming, sometimes he's wearing the he's wearing the Kaustubha jewel. And when Uddhava would be coming, they said, is that Uddhava or Krishna? And they couldn't tell the difference. Uddhava was so intimately connected with Krishna. So then Narada went to Uddhava and said, you are the most favorite of Krishna. Krishna himself says, Natata me priyatma atma jonir na shankara, na cha shankarshano na shrir, naivatma cha yata bhavan. You know what that means?
No, I do not know.
This is a really important verse. O Uddhava, what to speak of others devotees like Brahma, Shiva, Shankarshan, and Lakshmi, you are more dear to me than my own self. O Uddhava, what to speak of other devotees like Brahma, Shiva, Shankarshan, and Lakshmi? You are more dear to me than my own self. You are in such a high position and are so intimate with Krishna that Krishna favors you even more than his own life. And this is, so Narada is quoting this verse, and then he's saying further, he's speaking to Uddhava, oh, you are so dear. And Uddhava said, yes, of course, out of his causeless benevolence. Krishna might have said like that, but I do not think I am his real devotee, especially after visiting Vrindavan. All my pride has been melted away by seeing the devotion, the serving spirit, and the intensity of the love toward Krishna that I found in Vrindavan. O Devarsi, I am nowhere. Do you know that statement of mine where I disclosed my heart fully? It is recorded in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Asamaho charanareno jusam mahang shyam vrindavane kimapi gulma lato sadinam yadustyajam svajanam arya patang chahitva Bejur Mukunda Padaving Shutibir Vimrigyam. Krishna sent Uddhava to visit Vrindavan. Quote, go and pacify the devotees there with talk of me. They are suffering too much in my separation. Uddhava went to Vrindavan and met Nanda, Jashoda, and the Gopis. And when he returned, he made this statement, Asam Maho. What sort of divine love did I find in these gopis? How elevated they are, how wholesale, given to the service of Krishna is their life. They don't have any other life. There is nothing. There is no other anything other than Krishna. Even when they're doing their household duties, it's all in complete absorption in Krishna. Not for even the most tiny split part of a second are they not fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Not at all. 24 hours a day. No stop. Asamaho. How wholesale given to the service of Krishna is their life. Ahang Shyam. I am astonished just by thinking about them. And I aspire to receive a birth as a creeper. That means a vine. Or a shrub in Vrindavan. So that the dust of their feet may fall over me. Such divine love as I find in Vrindavan cannot be traced anywhere else. And this is Uddhava. He was a great scholar, actually. And when he says it cannot be traced anywhere else, he means anywhere else. Not in the upper planetary systems, not among the yogis and jnanis and, rishis and munis. What to speak of Vaikuntha or Mathura or Dwarka or Mathura, or even anywhere in Vrindavan. The highest devotee, Uddhava, whose devotion was recommended by Krishna himself, says he wants to receive the foot dust of the gopis because of their intense self-abnegation and self-dedication for Krishna. At the sacrifice of everything, everyone wants pratishta, prestige, position, honor, but that also must be sacrificed. And we see that the gopis in Vrindavan take that risk. They have given up everything. So when you are in a society, I was thinking about this morning. I was thinking about the fearfulness of being in a society which expects certain things, meaning a mundane society, of course. But even mundane religious societies are sometimes so stressful to be in because everybody's watching everybody else in a very mundane way to see if their behavior, their external behavior, is coming up to snuff. But even in the really religious societies, like the Vedic society, in which ostensibly Vrindavan, which is appearing in this world, is appearing in the midst of that. So anyone who was going to be honored and respected had to be a very religious person. And they're leaving their religious life for Krishna. No prestige. No honor from the society. No honor from the society. Giving up what no one can give up. Even among the jnanis and yogis who want to, jnanis who want to leave this world, there's still so much prestige in that. But the gopis didn't care a thing for prestige. They were going out with Krishna and doing, in the middle of the night, dancing. Of course, it's fully transcendental, but it's still such a beautiful thing. In the midst of the sort of gem-like religious society of Vedic life, that setting, it will become a setting for the real gem of Krishna prema. That outshone everything. In fact, that religious life, leaving it, became that setting. Leaving that made that more glorious. So these are very sweet things to remember. So he's saying, at the sacrifice of everything, everyone wants pratishtha, prestige, position, and honor, but that must also be sacrificed. And we see that the gopis in Vrindavan take that risk. At the cost of their good name in society, they do not even care for the Shastra in their self-offering to Krishna. Svajana means social opinion, and the opinion of so-called near and dear ones. And Aryapatam means scriptural dictation. You should do this and you should not do that. And the gopis ignored both of these in their service to Krishna. It is inconceivable. And sometimes there's a little confusion here, because the Braja Gopis disregarded the religious society's dictations. That devotees sometimes think, we should just ignore all the rules and regulations of our progressive life. But we will become degraded. The gopis' rejection was deeper and higher and inconceivably more profound in self-giving. But if we do the same thing, then we will become completely degraded by that. So you can give up a good principle for a better principle, but not for some worse idea, not to slip back. All right then. Jai Sri Upadesamrta ki jai, Srila Rupa Goswami ki jai. Any question?
Nope. Inconceivable.
Chamatkar.
Chamatkar means inconceivable.
It means astonishing. You'll see this verse, you'll see this word all over the place in Chaitanya Charitamrta. Chamatkar is the favorite word of Keshavananda Prabhu. Jai Shri Guru Gaura Chandra Giraju ki jai. Haribo. Very good. Very good, Pujari. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra
Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra
Kadadai Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hey Jai Gosai Gauri Charana Banda Jai Te Vignana Savista Purana Hey Jai Gosai Jammu Sarada Dasabara Pararenu Mor Panchagra Chandra Charana Sevi Bhakta Saneva Janame More Abila Hey Chai Gosai Jabe Braje Koilaba Shri Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhash Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Padema Jayama Shri Guru Vaishnava Pada Padma Koya Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Narottamada Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gauriva Hariva Hariva Jai Saparikasi Guru Gaur Chandraju Ki Jai Jai Shri Giraj Govardhan Ju Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupai Paramahamsa Paribrajakacarya Austerity the Sri Sriman Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupai Paramahamsa Paribrajakacarya Austerity the Sri Sriman Srila Bhakti Rakak Sri Radhe Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Vrinda Ki Jai Sannyasi Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Sadgoswami Prabhu Ki Jai Saparshad Sriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai Saparshad Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Vrinda Ki Jai 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 Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai Tadya Saka Mat Ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission Ki Jai Kol Kartal Ki Jai Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Jai Jai Srimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Vaishnava Mandala Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Nittai Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol
Jai Srimati Shileka Devi Ki Jai
Jai
Jai to all the online devotees.
Jai
Divya Shakti Didi, Kun Kun
morning,
Didi, Ma Krishna
Didi,
Prabhu.
Hari Bol.
Thank you and everybody. everybody that joined and tuned in today.
Jai. Very well done.